morning, guys. Welcome to another devotional. So we've got two entirely different thoughts that we're going to talk about, and then we'll tie it up at the end. The first thought is that it's a bit of a testimony. So last year we had to start planning our wedding, and in the process, we had to find a date. And so May normally is a good date to get married, or in the May time is wedding season, but we found that January is the best time. And so there's a ton of reasons why January is generally not a good time. And it's following Christmas and then New Year's, and so financially it was not a great time. But we prayed about it and we just felt peace about January. And then leading up to the wedding, there were so many things that just fell in place, and we really felt like so much favor on us. And it was just so cool to experience how sometimes you're not sure if you heard God's voice or not. And then for us, we just felt that we heard God's voice, and then we saw these things falling into place. And to experience it was such a a privilege. There's so many of our friends planned their weddings for now, and unfortunately they have to move it. And not to say that they have not heard God's voice, but it was just cool for us to experience how we trusted God and to do something in an unlikely time, and how that worked out. Even now looking back at the lockdown, we would not have been able to get married, but it worked out perfectly. So the second thought is this.
Cool. So the second thought is just how, my thoughts are, I've just been thinking about how God has created each of us so differently, and how I feel like He could have created us as robots. He could have created us all so similar. He could have just created us in a boring way. And yet He created us each so uniquely, and not one of us are the same. He created us each to dream, to plan, to envision, and He created us in a way that we do these things all so differently. I think what's really beautiful in Genesis 1 verse 27, He says He created man in His own image, reflecting God's very nature. In Psalm 139, God speaks on how much He thinks about us, how well He knows us, how He has plans and a destiny for us before we were even born. In Ephesians 2 verse 10, it speaks over God's destiny for each of us, that He planned it out. I'm just going to read that scripture to you because I think it's so cool. He says, "We have become His poetry, a recreated people that will fulfill the destiny He's given to each of us. For we are joined to Jesus, the Anointed One. Even before we were born, God planned in advance our destiny and the good works we would do to fulfill us." I love even David, who is, God speaks about David being a man after God's heart. And I think it's crazy how he says that he serves a God that will fulfill a purpose in him. So I think it's so cool that when we get to know God, how much He loves us and what He says about us, God actually, when we listen to what He's speaking about us, it defines our purpose.
So to kind of tie those two thoughts together, if we look back at the story of Noah, God spoke to Noah and gave him his purpose. And so Noah had to act on that, and so that meant that he had to build this massive ark, this big ship in the middle of nowhere at a time where it's never rained before. And so a lot of people mocked him and laughed at him, and it probably did not make sense at all to build this big ship in the middle of nowhere. But he trusted God that spoke to him. And so the storm came and the flood came, and Noah and his family was on the ark. And I don't think it was a very comfortable experience. And what's the interesting side note is that he was locked down for just over a year. So he was locked down in his ship, in I don't think a very comfortable place at all. But he trusted God because God had spoken to him, and God had spoken purpose over him. And so they fulfilled this purpose. And so the flood was passed, and the ship came onto land, and so they were able to repopulate the earth, and life was able to come back to the earth because that they followed God's purpose.
Yeah.
And so just a challenge to you and to us is to really hear God's voice for you where you are right now. I think a lot of us have businesses and the businesses are not looking really good. Or a lot of us has lost our jobs. And so it's a very uncertain time. But just a challenge to really hear God speak to you for where you're at and to trust God. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've just got one last scripture, and it's James 1 verse 2-5, and it says, "Dear brothers and sisters, when trouble of any kind comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested," which we all feel like our faith is being tested right now, "your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you'll be perfect and complete, needing nothing. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking." So yeah, guys, ask God for wisdom. And as I said, ask him to speak into your life and into your situation. And trust him, even when it doesn't seem...
Yeah, when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, we hope you guys have an amazing day.
Yeah, cool. Love you guys, and we miss you all, and we can't wait to see you guys again.
Okay,
Cool.
bye.
Bye.